One of the most common questions surrounding how to perform squats properly is, well, how deep should you squat? Knowing how low to squat or how deep to squat, that will help ensure that your squat workouts are effective and safe without posing an increased risk of injury to your knees, your back, your hips, or ankles, and we all don't want that.
Yeah, so the question is, how low can you safely squat? That's what Dr. Jed Ballard showed us in the gym. Check this out.
All right, well, you know where we are. We are here with Dr. Jed back in the gym here. Right now, Jed, we're going to be talking about mobility, and you're talking about the distance between portions of your leg and how low you can go.
Correct, yeah. Specifically talking about squats, because squats, you know, social media era fitness and whatnot, squats are a very huge thing that every girl and boy wants in their routine right now, you know, trying to get that booty right, all that stuff. But everyone's built a little bit different.
Right.
And there's a few factors that contribute to how low you can safely squat or how low you should squat. And there's kind of advantages to low squats and advantages to staying a little bit higher. So we're just going to talk a little bit about all that and then help our viewers and us figure out where our squats should land.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good, yeah.
Perfect. So number one, we have to talk about femur to lower leg length. Everyone has a different ratio of their femur length to the lower leg, and that's going to affect. You see some people, they're coming down and they're super low and their body's very upright. And you see other people, to get low, they're coming and they're really coming forward like that.
Right.
And that's just a simple matter of mechanics. There's not really a good or a bad on that, as long as you're keeping your spine in that kind of neutral arch. So as long as your spine is coming up, your core's real tight like this, so when you come down, that looks good. It's totally fine to be back up a little bit or forward like that. It's just what feels natural to you on that.
Is there a point where you're doing this position and you're going to know where you're not doing it correctly?
Yeah, one of the big things on that, they call it the butt wink, and I'll kind of show you here, but essentially you can keep that neutral spine to a certain degree, and then once you surpass where you can actually go with your mobility, what'll happen is your tailbone will kind of curl under. So what I mean by that, I'll be here, and you're coming down, my back's this nice, tight, safe spot. But as I go lower, if you watch my tailbone, it starts to curl. And I'm old, so my knees also a little bit.
That wasn't me this time.
Yeah. But as your tailbone curls like that, then you're just putting yourself at unnecessary risk. L4, L5 is where everyone comes in with back problems. It takes the brunt of the weight of your spine.
Right.
And there's just no reason to put that compression on when you're training to ideally make your life better, right? Yeah. As you know, injuries are a huge setback.
Yes, they take time. So, Dr. Jed, what are some good exercises that you can actually go low?
Yeah, so kind of with strength and mobility, and that's kind of the trade-off. So the more weight you have on, the more cautious you should be about going really low or pushing your range of motion. So that's why both a short range of motion and a big range of motion actually have value. So one way to do it, you know, you got your bars or however you're holding it, but you just stop yourself at about 90 degrees. So for me, that's about 90 degrees right here. It's not parallel yet, but it's about a 90-degree angle. Advantage to this, super safe on the knee joints, and you can move a lot of weight. So you're here, it's a safe thing. You can use a little bench if you want, but you just stop there, come back up. Disadvantage, you're not getting as much butt work with it. You're keeping it mostly in the quads. As you come down past, you're going down in parallel. Now you're getting really good butt work, quad work, but you're not going to be able to use as much weight as that 90 degrees. And you're at slightly more risk of kind of knocking yourself out of proper form and whatnot. And then as far as that super, you know, butt to grass, you know, that, honestly, unless you're kind of actually doing some sort of lifting that requires that, so you're an Olympic lifter, you're a competitive CrossFitter, etc. In my head, it's not really worth the risk to get that super, you know, you're just way down here, unless you are doing something in life where you need to. Because with that extreme range of motion, you're putting a lot more stress on your joints in relation to the amount of weight you can move.
So the key thing to remember is form is key.
Absolutely key.
Start with low weight or no weight if that's the case. Right.
Correct.
And always pay attention to your back, like if you're arching or if you're keeping it spine neutral.
Perfect, yeah, that neutral spine is really important. And the only time I really like those extreme range of motions are, again, with almost no weight, just to kind of get that mobility down. Once you're loading weight, then you're increasing the risk with going a big range of motion like that.
All right.
So just kind of accept your range of motion. You know, it should feel good too. The body's pretty good about that. People kind of stress out about foot width, etc. You know, it should feel natural. So if this is what feels good to you, great, you're doing a great move. If you want to go just a little bit more, but now it feels weird and strainy and you're really sore for the next 3 days, probably not great for you. You know, you need to work into that.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Good pieces to
Yes,
keep in
good
mind.
information.
All right. Appreciate it, Dr. Ted. Thanks.
Hey, no problem.